Welcome to the Back 9 Six-Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll.
Hello and welcome to episode 46 of the Back 9 Six-Pack. My name is Mitch, joined as always by my esteemed colleague Justin. You made it to 34.
I think I'm still paying for the weekend, to be honest with you. It's like a mix of that and allergies. It's just like, I'm dead.
You look and sound not great.
I'm dead, yeah. Saturday was rough. Then I still did boot camp.
Yeah, pause. Friday night, you got a little over the skis maybe?
Oh, for sure. No, it didn't. I wasn't a little. It was...
You full-on flew
It was falling asleep on the way home over the skis.
Okay, and then...
Well, we'll call it falling asleep.
Saturday morning, you were coerced
my gosh.
doing
No,
your
I was
boot
told
camp?
I had to.
Okay.
That was...
What time was boot camp?
10:30 in the morning.
Okay, that's not great, but not
This wasn't
as
ideal.
bad as it could have been.
I puked 3 times.
Yep.
Got overshadowed by another situation in class. We won't go into that.
Possibly a shituation.
Yeah, possibly from another attendee. Not me, another attendee in the class. So it was, Saturday was brutal. Sunday felt perfectly fine. Golf, but I think the allergies are just, with the 2 warm days back to back, they're just like, they're kicking in.
I don't like that you're already talking allergies after. I don't remember when that was last year, but do you remember when we all just got like absolutely roasted?
Yeah, it was probably like April last year, I think, wasn't it?
Oh
like into
God.
April. It was further along in the year, but it's...
I swear I thought Nick's eyes were going to like swell shut.
Oh, it was like,
so
it
bad.
all happened on the same hole, if you remember correctly. Yeah, it was brutal. But I did make it through birthday weekend. It was actually a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, I'm glad you're still here with us. I'm sad I missed both the happy hour and the golf on Sunday. We can never. The rule with the Donny's boys is there can never be all 4 of us together at once.
No.
So I had to sit out just so.
It hasn't happened in quite some time.
Yeah,
But,
quite some time.
But we played on Sunday. There was 3 of us, 3 of the 4.
How's the game feeling?
Everything felt fine other than the putting. I mean, putting this time of year sucks. The greens are bumpy. They're slow. I'm not a particularly good putter on slow greens if I have to take the putter back very far. Like, it was, other than the putting, it was fine.
Yeah.
I say that, and then we had some, like, longer putts made in our group. Like, I think we all made a pretty decently long putt. So, it was good. Perfect weather. It just felt good to be, like, on real grass, because I did it in Mexico once, but other than that, it's been all, like, turf, and
Right.
it's just different.
Yeah, I'm looking for. I think I just made the commitment to myself that I'm just not going to play until the irons come in. I just don't want to. It's like, you know what,
if you're going to do it, it's going to be today, because today was 75 or 76 out.
And we're sitting here on a Monday evening. That just wasn't going to happen with my day. So
yeah, no, it wasn't for me either.
Yeah, we're just going to hold out and hope those babies come in at a decent window for me.
We'll see.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I will say, too, right as I parked in the garage this morning, which, again, after last week's patio beer question, just people remain an absolute nuisance in the parking garages. But I got a text from Gunther that was like a full breakdown of his round yesterday. And I don't know if I've been that excited to receive a message in forever. Like, it just felt right to have your buddy breaking down his round to you.
Yeah, and he had a lot to break down. There was some good.
Yeah,
some bad.
That's what I've heard.
Maybe more bad than good. Specifically irons.
That's what I heard. I told him, I replied, and I was like, you know what, I'm glad to hear that, because last year, driver was a problem for him.
Yeah, I think that was probably the best club in his bag, to be honest.
That's what he said. And so I just told him, I was like, dude, I trust you. You're like, I think he's a sneaky, really good iron player. He just doesn't know it. Especially on that course where he doesn't need to hit more than like a 7. Yeah, most rounds.
I don't know what it is with those irons, but every once in a while he'll catch one and it goes, and like it could be from the middle of the fairway.
Yeah.
And it goes like 20 yards further.
Yeah. Taylor made your juice.
I mean, apparently, because he had a couple and he was like, that just went 20 yards further than I thought. I'm like, yeah, I've seen that, saw that multiple times last year from him. Doesn't make any sense. It's like out of nowhere. It's not a flyer because he's not in the rough. Like, just flies. Like, I don't know.
Maybe he's just hitting the center of the face on those.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, he played pretty good. I think we all played. I mean, like we all had bright spots for sure.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like I said, outside a couple of long putts, no one putted particularly well. It's hard this time of year. You can't really take a lot of stock in it.
How's everything looking out on the course?
Looks good. Yeah, the changes look good. We won't get into the text chain we had today, but look, all the changes look good. I think it's going to add some toughness. I know people are always like, if you take bunkers out, it makes it less tough, which I actually disagree with. I think amateur golfers struggle with tight lies around greens a lot more than they do out of bunkers, but they can.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of double chipping that can happen, and but anyway, yes, the changes are great. It just needs some time to grow in, but if we keep this weather up, it'll grow in pretty quickly. So yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. I will you've got nothing tonight.
Yeah, I got nothing.
We're gonna crack this in celebration of you guys playing.
I'm here.
You are here.
I'm here so I don't get fined.
Yes, that's exactly why you're here. Well, while you're here, please subscribe, rate, and review the show. Helps us out a lot. I will say shout out to our guy, John Hudson. Bought our last towel and navy blue hat.
He did. Yeah.
He's said he's got a tournament. He's playing down in Florida and wanted to rep the back 9 6-pack. So had to give him a shout out on here. It. And if anybody out there, you guys, we're gearing up for golf season. You want to get a fresh Patio Beers hat, the fresh 9 emblem hat. I mean, we're gonna start. I think we're gonna start bucking our heads on some merch here in a bit.
Yeah, we are. We're getting there. Yeah. We're getting there. Some different stuff. Maybe not so much hats, but some different stuff.
Yeah,
for sure.
So Anthony Kim came back.
Yeah, they teed off at 3 a.m.
It was impossible. I didn't watch any of this.
I didn't watch it until I woke up at like 5:30. Like I turned it on then, kind of had it on my phone, just didn't turn it on a TV. It was just too early. But I did get to watch some of them. I think I got to see him hit like maybe 10 shots.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty much what everybody expected, right? Guy was gone for 12 years. He wasn't going to shoot 64. You're crazy if you thought that. But I think all in all, I mean, I'm just glad he's back in the game. I mean, I don't really, a lot of people made a big deal about where he's playing. I'm like, I don't really care where he's playing as long as I get to watch him play. That's kind of the boat I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, I saw there was, his camp, or I don't know who's putting it out there, but there were some, hype videos circling that were, I mean, interesting at least. Seems
he's back on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, his accounts are active. Looks like he's got a young daughter, wife, seems to be happy. I will say this though, look, I know he's 38 now or something.
Yeah.
Guy looks like he's lived a bit.
And we talked about that in previous episodes. Like he used to get after it. Like, he used to gamble a lot, he used to party a lot, he used to be a big club goer. That's when he was living in Vegas. Like he doesn't live there now. It's probably because of that. Like he's probably trying to get away from that. But yeah, he definitely is lived some life. So that's the nicest way we can put it.
Yeah, and I was we listened to No Laying Up all the time, and they had made some references to maybe some of the stuff that happened might be coming out in like a documentary here sometime soon. So we might get a little sneak peek into that. And kind of they were a little worried that he may not be there sort of under his own volition. So I really hope that's the case, that he is there by choice and wants to be playing.
Yeah, gosh.
Some competitive golf. I think it's a little overblown. People will say like it's a pawn in the scheme or whatever.
He's an adult. Like,
yeah, if he, I don't think he would be there unless he wanted to be playing at least semi-competitively, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. I haven't listened to their recent episode, but I mean, he seems fine. Like, you know what I mean? Not like someone that's hesitant to be there or doesn't want to be there. I mean, he legitimately seems like he wants to be there.
Yeah,
and maybe he's in money problems, and he needs to get back to playing. Sure. That could be a legitimate thing. I know he had a decent insurance policy, but for the first rumored, this is not a fact, but rumored, in those first 4 or 5 years after he gave it up, like he was blowing some money, right? So like he very easily could have been, in some money situations where he had to come back. And maybe he wanted to come back too, but that's probably part of it. So
yeah, I mean, I think time will tell, and hopefully we actually get to hear more from him specifically, because I feel like that's the one thing we haven't really heard as much from him.
What's happened over the last 12 years, right?
Yeah, and just why.
Think about how much your life's changed in 12 years.
Oh,
you know
no
what I
doubt.
mean?
Yeah.
And we weren't even adult. We were barely adults 12 years ago.
Right.
You talk about someone that was 26, 27, or actually he was like 20. Yeah, he's like 27 when he gave it up. I mean, from 27 to 38, a lot can change. So, like, he's full in adulthood at that point. So, yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah. So something definitely to monitor as we go forward. Hopefully, like you said, we get some better viewing windows so we can actually kind of.
That's the hope anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's why it just didn't make any sense for someone that a lot of people wanted to see to put him in the first tournament at it's 3 a.m.
The only thing I will say too is like maybe it's for his own good, because I think they're coming back to America here in a couple weeks. So
I think
rather than like have a circus around him on American soil,
like his first time out.
Yeah, he can kind of get a couple reps in some not so watched places. So
yeah, for sure.
All right, well I think that's all we got on Anthony Kim. We can head into the Cognizant Classic, Honda Classic. Cognizant.
God, I mean, I might give up betting golf altogether.
This is tough. Now, I'm the idiot that bet the Eckroat like top 40, but nothing else with him.
Well, at least you did that, because I bet him first round leader, and he was one off the pace for first round leader.
But I did not.
And usually, I usually take a couple guys that I take first round leader to win the tournament. He was not one of those people that I did that with.
I did the same thing.
So it's just he's had some really, really good first rounds this year, and he's one of my popular like first round leader bets. Yeah. Like he just seems to kind of come out of the, he's shot out of a cannon the first round typically. So
yeah, so congrats to Austin Eckroat, first PGA Tour win. In our one and done competition, he was 0.1% owned, so somebody made up some good ground.
Jesus,
this weekend.
Well, and did you see now that he's won like that Oklahoma State team with Victor and him and a couple other guys? I think like 4 of the 5 have won on the PGA Tour now. It's just stupid.
Yeah, I mean that's not
stupid
shocking.
Good.
Perennial powerhouse,
Yeah, but like a lot of those guys that from like Oklahoma State, it's like they'll have like 1 or 2 on a team, right?
Yeah.
And then look, the other 3 guys aren't bad. They're just not, they may not make it or whatever. But to have 4 of the 5 guys on your national championship team win on the PGA Tour, and it feels like Austin Eckroat, not star, but he seems like he could be a mainstay. I mean, look, Victor Hovland's a star. It's crazy to have that on a team. It's not surprising that they won. So they won that national championship at this point. So
yeah, that was look. I mean, another weather interrupted PGA Tour event. We had the Monday finish today. I mean, by the time I was out of like my initial morning meeting, I saw the alert that he had won, so I didn't even get to like see any of it really.
Botched, by the way, by the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I know you had some takes around.
Well, I mean, like, how many times have we seen it? It's like I've been to the Memorial on a Sunday.
Yeah, and
they're like, we're moving it up. Like, we're moving the tee times up because there's weather. There's a chance of weather after 2:00. The fans don't care. They'll get there at 7 a.m. They'll watch everybody tee off. Just absolutely botched. Like, if you knew weather, and it was very evident weather was going to move in, why are you not double teeing it and getting guys off as quickly as you can in the morning? It just doesn't make any sense.
The Masters, Tigers won in 2019. They went off in threesomes and a double wave.
The Masters.
It's the Masters.
Yeah. Like, you want to talk about like wanting to have a viewing window. That's the one tournament you want it for, because you get the sunsetting views, coming up 18, things like that. The Cognizant has nothing comparable to that. And it's like the fact that you botched that so badly, like, it's one thing, like, if a pop-up thunderstorm rolls through, right? There's like a 20% chance of rain. That happens, whatever. But like, it was pretty clear that there was going to be weather moving through.
Yeah.
And they just completely botched the snap, and then just completely ruined the Seminole Pro Member Day, which pisses me off. And if you don't know about that, is the sickest field for a club event in the world. It has to be in the world.
I mean, it honestly might have better strength of field than, DP World Tour,
100%. Like when you look at like world rankings and not that I put too much weight into those, but world rankings or just like FedEx Cup champions, FedEx point standings this year, like it's ridiculous. The field is just absolutely ridiculous. And then you throw, members in there like Tom Brady and Rob Manfred and guys like that. And there's like, I think someone said there was like 6 billionaires in the field as members. Like it's just this unbelievably stacked and cool field. Yeah. And it actually this year wasn't even the coolest. Like the only reason it was cool was Tiger was playing. Yeah, Tiger did play. Played. They shot 70. I've actually got the results. Not great. 64 won the gross division or the gross part of it. Eric Van Rooyen just continues his tear. He won the net division. Sounds like he might have had a sandbagger though. But that's we'll leave that for another discussion. Let's see. Let's pull up some of the notables here.
EVR living under net par.
He's been on a tear, though. I mean, he shot 8 under yesterday. It's like crazy. And that's why he was able to make it. He finished yesterday.
Right. Yeah.
He was able to make it over.
Well, plus you have this week is, obviously the Arnold Palmer Invitational. So you've got a signature event, too. It's like...
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a smaller field and probably...
And it's not a far drive or whatever, but still, I mean...
You're just disrupting these guys' weeks. It's like a huge week for a lot of people.
Yeah, so the gross division, Frank Edwards, don't know who he is, and Mackenzie Hughes, won with a 64. The net division, John Pinkham and Eric Van Rooyen shot 6. They actually tied for first, but they won this, I'm guessing, a scorecard playoff with a 62 net. But yeah, I mean, like, you look at these guys at the top. Matthew Pavon won this year. Grayson Murray was in the field. He's a winner this year. JB Holmes makes me laugh just because of the whole scramble situation that he's back in another club event.
How the fuck is he getting invited to this?
Yeah, that's a great question. Lee Hodges, Justin Lowe. We'll leave that one out for now. Yeah, Rory played in it. Corey Connors. Like, it's an incredible field. Yeah, Tom Brady played with Matt Cahill. Yeah, it's just a cool field, but it was actually better. But a lot of the guys got held up at that had to finish. I actually think that there was. I think I saw someone say there was like 7 or 8 guys that were supposed to play that didn't end up playing because of the rain delay.
That sucks for like the members and all that. I mean,
yeah, and they're just lucky that like right up the road you have a signature event next week. It's probably easy to find guys to fill, and they're in Florida. Like there's a professional golfer that's, someone in the stable sitting literally on every corner down there, especially on the East Coast where all those guys live. So, yeah, but it's a cool tournament. It just sucks that some of those guys, it could have been even better field. But yeah, I did see Tiger shot 70. Didn't recognize who he played with. Didn't register. But, a lot of these guys are businessmen and agents and, Seminole's not a cheap place to be a member at. I actually think it's like invite only. You can't like just become a member there. So
must be nice.
But dude, I love Twitter so much because like you go in the comment section of the results and stuff, and they're like, Seminole's not even that good. It's like a muni, but with an initiation fee. And I'm like, I feel like I've heard it's better than that, but.
I mean, there are people that say that's the best Donald Ross course.
Yeah,
it is a Donald Ross, right?
Yeah, I think so. But I just heard it's like incredible. They're like, it's like a muni on the ocean with an initiation fee, and I'm like, I bet it's better than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Pebble Beach thing, where like some people say it's not a good course, but it's only good because it's on the ocean or whatever. Yeah. It's like, yeah, but it's on the ocean. So
it's on the ocean.
Cool.
And as crazy as it sounds, there's like not a ton of East Coast courses that are like on the ocean.
No, yeah.
You got Kiowa. There's not many, and Seminole's one of them. So it's just kind of crazy. It's like Twitter or X is just not real life, and people will literally find any way to hate anything.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back like during COVID times when they had like one of those match things was there, and it was like DJ Rory, Matt Wolf, and Ricky
too.
The course looked awesome.
Yeah.
So
I mean, didn't they just have the Walker Cup there like 4 years ago or something too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a Muni though for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, but the PGA botching their tee time start on Sunday maybe ruin some of these billionaires' days. Possibly.
Hate to see it.
Hate to hear that.
Hate to hear
maybe
that.
even Tom Brady. Maybe Tom Brady wasn't supposed to play with Matt Cahill. I don't know.
Tough.
Sounds like an odd pairing, to be honest. It sounds like a filler pro.
Yeah, but I mean, these relationships that these people randomly have and stuff, it's wild. You know,
yeah.
Somebody knows somebody because of the agents, or they did a business deal with so and so. It's a sponsorship thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's all kinds of shit.
Yeah, that's true too.
So. Kind of along the same lines, I think you and I were texting like immediately on Thursday that like these tour events, like if none of them like have an identity anymore.
No,
like this guys were shooting like 7-8 under on Thursday in this event, and that like 8 under used to win this tournament. Yeah,
I told you it's like a tricky course. Like it's not easy.
But I mean, they had some weather, so it was a little bit soft. I get it. These guys are obviously really good golfers.
Now, I mean, like there was some cool, like if you like, blunders and things like that. Like 16 and 17 stole some souls this weekend.
Yeah, 15 got some people still too. I mean, Bear Trap still did, but it just like I don't know.
15, 16, 16 not so much, but like 15 and 17, they stole some souls there. Especially 17. I don't know if it was like the wind. I know it was a little windy. Maybe it was just like the type of wind that was blowing in. Like the guys struggled on that hole this week. I think it was like by Friday, like the end of Friday, they had like 48 balls and like that had gone, T-balls that had gone in the water, which is insane when you think about the amount of talent out there. So,
yeah, I mean, like EVR shot 63 on Sunday. Like, I mean, that's,
it just shouldn't happen, right? Like, I don't know.
Eckler at 4 under, like there. I mean, there's a lot. Chris Kirk was like 7 under through his first 9 or something yesterday. It was crazy.
Yeah,
it just felt like there was just
I just remember PGA Tour events. Like I'm old enough to remember when if you shot a 65 on Sunday and you were like 3-4 back, like you had a legit shot at winning.
Yeah.
Like now it's like EVR shoots 63 and it's like I mean he got in the top 3, but usually if you did that in the past it was like you could be 5 shots back and probably win.
I mean, obviously Eckler played really well. He won by 3, and he had some guys chasing him that shot 4 or 5 under. So like he just played well. But like I don't know, it just. From go, I was instantly just kind of like, what?
Yeah, and that's why like I always and it could be a course setup thing, could be just bad luck and weather, and soft and stuff like that. But it's always, and again, I'm not like a live sympathizer or anything like that. It's like it is what it is. But like to say those guys are playing a easier setup. And that's why they're shooting super low scores. But then on the same, on the PGA Tour, they're doing the exact same thing. So it's like, and maybe it's not a course setup. Maybe like we truly, like these guys are just, every year we talk about it, like with the NFL, it's like these guys are somehow getting faster and stronger. And it like doesn't seem possible.
Yeah.
Maybe golfers are just getting exponentially better and we didn't see a way for them to get exponentially better. So it could be a mix of both things.
And I plus that, I mean, that brings in the whole like equipment debate and all that stuff too, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I get all that, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of these events had an identity. There's only so few that have like an actual identity anymore.
Yeah, I think we talked about it a while ago, right? Like the PGA, what we started to like about the PGA Championship, it's kind of found an identity of like a tough but fair test.
Yeah.
Guys are the last 3-4 years, guys have been like, they're under par, but they're not, getting bludgeoned to death out there. It's, they're 6, 7, 8, 9 under. Mm-hmm. There's just, like the Memorial has an identity, right? Like it's, they want to be like the toughest tournament outside of major golf. And I think it has shown that over the last, especially when you see them doing this to a not so easy course. It makes you, there's just not a lot of tournaments out there that have that anymore.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't want it to be, the problem is a lot of the courses are so forgettable, at least on TV, right? Everything just seems so flat, like it flattens everything out. The holes, you can't really get a real sense of what they do or look like just by the angles that they show and all that. So like at least give me enough reps at it to like actually understand the course and like, okay, that par that guy made is really good.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, here's this guy that just shot 63 on Sunday and I have no concept of the holes and no, you know what I mean? Like
and I think really the only, the Honda, Cognizant, whatever you want to call it, the only identity this has is the bear trap, right?
Yeah.
And okay, but that's three holes of the 18,
Yeah.
and they're all at the end. So it's not like
and one's a really hard par 4 and 2 of them are par 3s over water. The only thing that makes it hard is that you have to carry like all water.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not like there's strategic holes in it.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all.
It just like makes when everybody's just scoring or whatever, and there's only like one challenge. It's like, do you hit in the water or not? It just makes everything so
you don't.
boring.
Okay, then you have a chance to score. Yeah.
It's just I don't know. It gets so like it just washes over you. It's so easy to just forget and move on, kind of thing.
Well, it just feels like they're playing for the same paycheck on the same course because you don't know the difference between the courses. It's hard to tell the difference between the tournaments other than the location they're in. What's the difference between the Cognizant and like I don't know. Other than the waste management having that, the party hole and it being a party scene, if they didn't have that, like you couldn't go up to an average golfer and tell me the difference between TPC and Scottsdale and, PGA National. Like they couldn't, they probably, if they were smart enough, they'd say the bear trap and that'd probably be about it. Yeah. They all kind of blend in at this point. And yeah, like you said, it's like the same paycheck on a different course.
Yeah.
And it's,
and
they're
also,
a different location, but it feels like nothing, kind of stands out.
We've kind of continuing to be a story is just like the stars not really doing anything on the tour right now. God. I mean, Rory and Fitzpatrick, T21s. Ricky Fowler was like T41. Like those are like the big names in this field.
Yeah. And not to say Fitzpatrick doesn't move the needle, but Rory does. And, if he's not that tournament, if it was like Austin Eckler going at it with Rory, like it'd have been way more exciting, right? Just because it's, you kind of got this guy that hasn't won, and then, you have Rory who has won, and it would have been a lot better, but it's just like these guys, one, there's not as many of them now. And then,
exactly,
which is a big problem, right? Yep. When you're narrowing it down to like, okay, we have 10 stars that kind of like, or 8 stars that kind of move the needle. When you used to have like 16 of them, you have a better chance of like one of them playing good in a week and being near the lead for Sunday. When you don't have as many, it definitely does make it as tough, especially if guys are going through rough stretches.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I'll get to this real quick. Did you happen to see the article that came out about Paul Azinger?
I saw his comments.
Yeah, so Adam Schupak with Golf Week randomly decided to call up Zinger, and he actually talked to him about all the stuff that went down with NBC and just how he feels.
I was going to say, isn't it filter now, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think it was like as crazy as whatever.
Like earth-shattering.
Yeah, but like it's worth just going to read and kind of see how he felt about, his exit and where he's at now and all that kind of stuff. But one of the comments in this is a quote. The best players aren't all playing PGA Tour tournaments. That's over. Suddenly the LIV Tour, let's just say it like this, the PGA Tour has fast become the qualifier for LIV, and it's a sad day for golf. Yeah, I've watched a little bit, and I'm not missing it that much. I'm not missing it at all.
Yeah, I mean, because think about it. Like, if it's boring for us, it's got to be mind-numbing for them because they're stuck there, right? Like, we can just turn the TV off and walk away. He can't do that if he's sitting in the booth. Yeah. I get it.
And also, like, I mean, him saying that the PGA Tour is a qualifying system for the LIV Tour, I mean, kind of made me laugh, but also I was kind of like, well, I mean,
what points to that he's wrong, right?
Yeah,
because they've kind of gone after every guy that's kind of like came up and their, every big name that, like, how many people knew John Rahm 4 years ago? I mean, I remember him, like, honestly, and like I said, I'm a big college golf fan. So I kind of remember him at Arizona State a while back, but the average golf fan 4 years ago couldn't point John Rahm out in a room. And then it's like 4 years later, he's getting paid, $450 million or whatever he got to go to LIV. So yeah, it's not far from the truth.
We're just so close to. We made that poll a couple months back. It feels like of like, all right, how much do you care about the tour? And then the options were like, oh, I watch every week. Just let me know when the majors come. I forget I don't care, whatever the options. And like resoundingly, the answer was, let me know when the majors are here.
Yep.
And it was already kind of trending that way when we had everybody playing on the same tour. It's getting tougher and tougher. Every day that goes by that something is not figured out, it just seems like it's more likely to almost like completely collapse. I don't even care about this equity stuff, all the stuff that came in.
I mean,
until something's actually like happening.
It's I would love to see, like, if you compare, say, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, golf viewership to now, I would guess it's probably taken a pretty big hit.
Oh, it's got to be way down.
And that even includes like gambling becoming legal in most states in the last couple of years, where people may have just an external reason to watch outside of just wanting to watch golf. Like they're maybe following the money or whatever that they have on it. That's even with that, I guarantee it's way down.
Well,
way down.
Even if you're like new and you're watching because you're betting on it, if you tune in and actually watch it and then you see what the product is that you're watching,
you're like, no.
You're like, okay, I'm done betting on golf.
Yeah, I'm out.
You can't even like actually really live bet. Even if you have like, I don't know, whatever set up the ESPN Plus and all the streams and all that stuff, it's like you're basically just getting a recycled version of the main feed that's sticking with the one group that they're showing on the main feed anyway.
Yep.
So it's like,
there's
no real way to actually enjoy betting it.
No. I mean, there really isn't. It's not like you're watching a basketball game and you're seeing every layup in real time.
No. Everything's a moment ago and playing through.
There's been many a times and usually I'll wait to bet live bets on Sunday, and I'll make a couple before the round and then maybe during the round. And even if I'm watching, I can be watching. I'm like, all right, so and so's two back. He's birdied the last couple holes. I'll take him at plus 800. Next thing you know, you're like, whoa, hold on, timeout. Like you go to place the bet and it drops to like plus 450. You're like, what the fuck did he do?
Yeah.
That he must have just birdied or something. But you're sitting there on the couch, you haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah. And
you have no idea. So it makes you got to be careful with that because, like you said, it is like a recycled. It's kind of behind, and that shot could have happened 8 minutes ago or 7 minutes ago where he hits it close, and then they're not going to adjust the odds until he makes the putt, but you haven't even seen the first shot. So the product is just. Shout out to Jeff Donny. He texted me. He's like, it's incredible because he knew how bad of a week I had with some of the picks I had. He's like, it's incredibly hard now to like guess who's going to play well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was hard before. It is exponentially harder.
Yeah. And the tour, they desperately need a good week this week. No like weather issues. But look, guess what? Looks like weather's coming through in Florida again.
Yeah.
And I mean, they need the stars to show up and to have like not a weather impacted event so that this stuff can be in the TV window they want it to be in with the best players playing.
Yep.
And I don't know if they're going to get it this week again.
Look, I think we know probably more than most when it comes to golf and the guys in it and stuff like that. Like, look, I love a good long shot story winning a tournament. But when you're talking, it's now been, 6 of 7 weeks. There have been triple-digit odd winners on tour. Or 6. There's like 6 of them this year. Maybe not 6 and 7, but 6 of them this year. Triple-digit odds at the beginning of the tournament have won. It just doesn't get the fans excited. Like normal fans.
Yeah, and it could. I think the problem is you have it set against this discourse that's happened over the last 3 years where it's like money, 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 stars need to be paid, blah, blah. It's like when your team makes a bad deal on a contract or whatever, and the dude just flat out sucks. And then you just are frustrated, right, as a fan?
Yeah.
That's kind of what's happening. Like, us as golf fans have accepted this new signature event model, and the stars are making more money, and they got the PIP and blah, 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 and we've heard all about how much these guys deserve all this money. None of them are playing worth a shit.
Well, and that's just, if you think of it in terms as like they're baseball players, right?
Right.
The way that your Justin Thomases, your Rorys have played so far this year, name X star. Victor Hovland's played in like 2 tournaments.
Yeah.
You know, it would be like signing a baseball player like to an Ohtani deal. You know, way over market. Everybody knows it. You know, you're kind of paying for future revenue, right? And he goes out and he's batting 125, and his ERA, because he's a pitcher too, is like 7. That's legitimately what all these, you know, they built all this equity stuff on the backs of the guys that are stars like Justin Thomas, Victor Hovland, Rory, and they're no shows. Like, and it's tough, and it puts the PGA Tour in a tough situation. And maybe it's something that, you know, they thought about, but they're like, "There's no way X could happen." Well, it's happening, right? You got like literally all your stars. Like I said, Victor Hovland hasn't even played in. I don't know how many tournaments he played in, but it's like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And how many tournaments are we in? We're on like the 8th or 9th tournament of the year,
probably
since the Century. I think he played in the Century. He played at Pebble, and then he played at Genesis. No, he didn't play at Genesis.
I can't remember if he did or didn't.
I don't think he did.
Yeah.
But regardless, like, he's barely even playing. It's crazy. You know,
he just won the FedEx Cup last year.
It's crazy. And he might have something to do with it, right? Like, I'll ramp it up after, you know, starting now and ramp it up into the Masters and then into the U.S. Open and then take another break or something. You know,
sure.
Whatever he decides to do. But it's just crazy that, you know, these guys, they're either not playing or they're just not playing well. And it's just a terrible mixture for the PGA Tour right now. It's almost a kill shot. You know, it really is.
Yeah. Well, that was a fun tangent we just took from the Cognizant. But
it had to be said. It's just brutal to watch. Like, there's a reason I haven't watched much of it in the last 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, we're going to the Arnold Palmer Invitational, familiar track. All the guys are there. This should be one that golf fans and even casual fans can turn on and enjoy. So,
yeah, you'd hope.
Hope so.
And it's gonna be interesting when we go to the PGA Championship to kind of get the vibe of the crowd. Now, the one thing they have working for them, you know, Louisville, Kentucky, just the Midwest in general, just doesn't get a lot of major golf.
Yeah.
So they're going to have some hype behind that just because people are pretty deprived here from major golf. But it's going to be interesting of that vibe of like, is it like resentment or, you know, like, is this even going to be a good tournament to go to kind of thing? It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. I think it will. I think people are going to be excited.
Like I said, it just
the stars back together, you know.
That, and if you throw that in, and then like I said, I just think that the Midwest just doesn't host a lot of major golf. Most of that has to do with weather because, you know, well, you have Augusta, but then, you know, May it's teetering on the line of like you could have some crappy weather. They shouldn't the further south you go, but you could.
Yeah.
You know, that's why, like, last year in New York, it was surprising. It was like, man, New York in early May it's like a toss-up, right? They're not going to get snow. It just could be cold and wet. And it was wet, but I don't think it was cold. But, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see when we get down there.
All right, before we get off this, we have an award to give away.
Yeah, we do. It's back.
We haven't done this for a while, but this week, you know, we did talk about a lot of the guys going low and stuff, but there were some numbers out there. And honestly, what spurred it all was your boy, Kiz, on day one.
Man,
77. Bear Trap got him.
Oh, it ate him alive.
Yeah.
Like I said, he was one of the souls that got snatched.
And I think what made it funnier is it's tough. I should have recorded this when I saw it because I don't think it's going to be out there at all anymore. But this was like coming off of his Florida Man Instagram story.
Oh, my God.
Post.
By the way, just a banger of a video. Like, whether you like him or not, or, you know, whatever, it was a banger.
Yeah. Look, I'm a middle-aged white dude. I think that was Kodak Black playing in the,
it was.
in the video. Like, just what an...
Newsreels of, like, Florida Man. Man.
I'm like,
okay, a Florida man.
One, he's not even from Florida. I get the tournaments in Florida, but, like, sure. And then it's Kiz, like, you know, with his Wilson gear or whatever he's sponsored by now, with Kodak Black banging in the background. And I just was like, what is happening?
And he's like a white country boy, too, which is just hilarious.
From Aiken, South Carolina. Yeah. And then he, on the heels of that post, goes out and shoots 77. I was like...
just gets eaten alive by 15 and 17.
Yeah. Fortunately for Kiz, he dodged a bullet because
He
somebody
absolutely dodged a
bailed
bullet.
him the fuck out.
Absolutely bad. Like the bailout of the century, almost like he might have paid Thomas Dietrich to fuck up so people would forget how bad his Thursday on the bear trap was.
Yeah, so Thomas Dietrich, I'm sure everybody that's in the golf, sphere somehow has seen the 6-putt. I didn't realize quite how, you see it and it's like, oh shit, that was a 6-putt, right? But it just kind of washes over you, Side note to the video, Steven Yeager just standing there, looking down at his ball.
What? He's trying to clean it. He's trying to find something to do.
Look, right?
Yeah.
We've all been there where your buddy is just absolutely lighting himself on fire.
You put the blinders on. I don't know if I can watch this.
Yeah, you don't want to watch it. You don't want to react.
As he's sitting over a 4-footer.
Yeah, just all bad. But anyway, I went through it. I just wanted to see what the shot tracker looked. He hit the green.
Yeah, I know.
So his drive's about 300 yards. He's got 162. He hits it to about 50 feet. First putt blows it about 6 feet by. Second putt, 2 feet by. Kind of goes up casually, hit it in. Juices it 3 feet by. It's like a series of lip outs at this point.
Didn't he miss one of them was 1 foot and 2 inches or something?
The shortest one was 2 feet 6 inches.
Okay, it was 2 feet 6 inches.
And that was the 1, 2. That was the third putt.
Yeah, and then he hit it 4 feet by or 3 feet by.
Yeah. Caught the lip again, and then there's sorry, you're right. He missed a 15-incher.
Yeah, I thought there was one less than less than 2 feet in there somewhere.
So, okay, let me go through this. Hits it to 50 feet, putt to 5 feet, putt to 2 feet, putt to 3 feet, putt to 15 inches, putt to 3 feet, finally in the hole. So, just absolutely, just going up there trying to,
you
split feet,
side saddling the fuck out of all of them.
And I think 3 or 4 of them hit the lip. Just horrible display for a nice quad on the scorecard. Just to go through his actual scorecard. So a birdie-less front 9 with a 43 with that quad on there. He might have grabbed a drink in the turn, but obviously didn't get the full back 9.
No, he didn't. He did not.
Because he birdies 10 and birdies 13, but then he gets to 14 and makes double.
Ran out of gas.
Played the bear trap even though, nice. But then bogey's 18.
Which is a pretty easy par 5.
Yeah, so 43-80 or 43-37 for an 80 is tough.
Yikes!
So, yeah, your boy Kiz got bailed out.
I saw some that I am a big golf. Twitter has been pretty just everything's live PGA Tour, but every once in a while you run across the gym and they had the video posted and they're like, this guy could go on to win 2 majors this year, and this is all anybody's ever going to remember from this year.
Yeah.
They're like, he won a Masters and he won a U.S. Open, and they're like, but he 6-putted this year. And that's so true. You're going to remember that for at least a little while.
I think I sent you guys a thing, or the stat about the last time somebody 6-putted. It was way more recent than I expected. It was 2020. And I was like, man.
You do get some guys out there that, they just mail it in. They're not going to WD, but they kind of mail it in, and that can happen.
I know, but still, that just seems...
Because he was side saddling 4-footers. It was like, this dude's mailed it in. He's done. He's checked out.
Well, Thomas Dietrich, you've got the return of the back nine, who needed the back 9 6-pack award this week. I was ready to memorialize it and just name it the Kevin Kisner Award.
Oh, God. Nope. No.
It might be the Dietrich at this point.
It might be.
We'll monitor
the Thomas Dietrich Memorial Trophy.
Yeah, we'll monitor that depending on how the rest of his year goes. All right, so now's the time.
I'm removing myself from. I will discuss, but I'm removing myself from making any picks this week.
That's big of you.
I am suspended without pay.
You're lucky this happened so early, and we just knew it was going to happen. It gave me time to calm back down because this was bad.
It was. Yeah. It didn't get off to a good start, and it just never got better.
No.
I don't.
Never did. So anybody that might have missed it, if you're listening to this, for the one and done last week, I let Justin sell me on picking Justin Lauer for some reason. Mainly because he backed himself into a corner and was not going to come out of it until I let him take Justin Lauer.
I'm like a hungry rat. You back me into a corner, put a box over my head. I'm gonna chew my way through the box and you on the way out.
You looked at me one, you were like, trust the process, which I shouldn't have. And two, you were like, I'm willing to die on this hill. And I was like, look, if you're willing to die on the Justin Lauer hill, there's nothing I can do. Like, you're already dead, possibly.
Someone order the gravestone.
Yeah.
And find the hill, because I'm dead. I'm suspending myself this week. It's a self-imposed suspension.
During a signature event week, too. Wow.
Yeah. I deserve it. And you throw that pick on top of my other ones, which we'll get to in a second.
Yeah, here.
I 100% deserve this.
Let me just give you the full rundown. So, Justin Lauer missed the cut, obviously. So we stand 2,405th place, still at the 1.2 million. We're somehow dodging the bullets because, like I said before, nobody had Eckroat. The leader's still at 5.9
I thought you said 0.1% did. So one person probably.
Virtually nobody, yeah. Anyway, the leader is still at 5.9. I think he picked Bobby Mack for reasons. Didn't really do anything. So anyway, we're about $730K outside the money. So we lost about $100K in terms of.
Which is not the end of the world, honestly.
No. So okay, our other options. We'll start with your other options actually. Denny McCarthy was your other choice. One of your other choices, also a miscut.
Yeah.
Sepp Straka Flock of Flame, miscut. Eric Cole, so those were your 3 picks, by the way. Eric Cole was one of mine, but you like co-signed. I listened back to this. And we're also saying that he was one of your picks. So you also came with a 4th pick and he missed the cut.
I know.
So you are properly suspended. It should be, if this happens ever to either of us, it's an auto ban for the next week. I think it's a suspension.
Look, I'm going to set a precedent here.
Yeah.
I always wanted to go to law school. I'm going to set a precedent.
Yep.
If you miss on all your picks and they all miss the cut, it's an automatic ban the next week.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair.
I'm just really going to try not to do it on the way into the Masters because I really, really want to pick players.
Well, maybe we'll give you a major exemption or something. There's workarounds.
You get one major exemption. We'll say that. You get one major exemption.
All right. My other pick, because I also had Eric Cole who missed the cut. Ben On, T21. 87.8K would have been
actually
nice.
Worked his way up into like the top 5 there on Sunday for a hot second. And
playing good golf.
I think he doubled or something like that, like doubled 6 and kind of dropped back down, but still not bad.
Before you were so sold on Justin Lauer, we were debating. You were like, I can't do Ben On. I was like, fine. And I was prepared. I was like, I thought we were going to just be safe. We're going to take Shane Lowry. And then you backed me into a corner, backed yourself into a corner with the Justin Lauer thing. Shane Lowry came in T4. 344K, that would have been real nice.
Looked like he was going to fucking win the tournament there for a second.
He was in the last group.
I got 5 text messages this weekend, like calling me an idiot for not backing your Shane Lowry pick. And then, of course, it's easy to say on Saturday when he's leading the fucking tournament. It's like, okay, say it on Monday. You know what I mean? Call me an idiot on Monday, and then that has some validity to it. But
speaking of that, at least my guy Tyler commented on our post and was like that you were selling me a bridge to nowhere.
Which, by the way, I'm fucking stealing that. Like, I'm 100% stealing that. That was so good. And at the time, I'm like, we'll fucking see.
Yeah, you're like, trust the process. No.
And then now it really does look like I sold you a lemon.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I'm a dirty car salesman and sold you a car that I knew wasn't going to make it a quarter mile down the road.
At least he was like, Eric Cole was a no chance. I think Denny was like -1, so he was like the best of your picks.
He was close, yeah.
But yeah, the fact that you, gave me that, who was 0.1% owned, so, hey, if we would have made any money on him, you had the right thought in that way, but like, just was not, it was not it. Let's put it that way.
I know.
It's okay. You learned your lesson. Because now you got to listen to me and my picks.
Yeah, I said I'll discuss, but I will have
Did you even come to the table with any?
I didn't.
This is a formal ban.
When I saw everybody miss the cut, I said, this is I'm out this week.
Okay. All right, so we'll go through mine then. Bay Hill, long, thick rough, some water. This is a pretty good like course history track. A lot of guys that play well here, continue to play well here. There's some weird crossovers with Riviera just in terms of the guys that have success, but some of that too is just like I think a lot of really good players win at both of those courses. I got I saw Jay was on the ground.
I did. Yeah, I got a couple snaps from him on Sunday.
Yeah,
he was out there walking around.
I just sent him a quick note, and I was like, all right, what are the conditions like? How's the weather looking for you? All that stuff. He said rough is thick, scattered thunderstorms throughout the week.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So
much for hitting those TV windows.
Yeah, we I got some horses for us to choose from. I'm pretty locked into who I think I want it to be, but
I actually have a really cool stat that I think you're going to pick one of these guys, and I have a really cool stat if I think I know where your head's at, because there's two guys that are over +2 shots gained from tee to green on this golf course in the last 5 years. They're both in the field.
I'm not going to the very top.
No, and one of these guys is not the very top, which I would consider the very top.
I kind of have 4 options here.
Okay.
So I'm going to skip the traditional 3. We're going to have a bonus pick in here. Not thrilled by the way that he's played so far this year, but Max has a good course history.
Don't hate it. Yeah.
He's got 4 starts here. T24, T10, T17, T14. I think it's more of a pick of like, I don't think people will be on him.
And he's had a break, right? Like
maybe a little reset.
And maybe he's going to just do exactly opposite of what he's done in the past years. Didn't play well in California, usually plays well there. Doesn't usually play well in Florida, but maybe with the break and, feeling like he needs to prove something, I don't hate it.
And of the guys that I have selected here, he's the least available for people to pick. Like, there's only 70% of the field has him.
Sounds like a lot of people. He probably got picked a lot of Genesis and probably even like Pebble.
That's one for you. This one's a little more off the wall, possibly, but he's trending, and I was surprised by the course history. Cam Young.
Scam Young?
Scam Young. Yes, your guy, Scamron Young. T13 and T10 here at Bay Hill. Last couple weeks, T8 in Phoenix, T16 in the Genesis, and I think he was T3 here at Cognizant. Playing well, good history.
It's like I want to see him win another tournament.
I'm with you. I don't necessarily trust him. The other thing too,
he's got the talent that this could be like. He's not one of those guys that's going to go win in, I don't know, name X event that like the one that Max wins at every year in Napa Valley. The fall
Sanderson Farms.
Yeah, or whatever. Like he's not. If he feels like a guy, it's like, oh, he could get that first win at like an event like this. It wouldn't be too far fetched.
I mean, he's contended in a couple majors in recent years.
It's definitely not like super far fetched that he's not going to get. He doesn't need to get his first win at like a lower event.
The other thing too is I'm kind of looking at guys that I think are kind of mutters. We can survive some weather. So just keep that in the back of your head. This guy, I don't know if he is a mutter or not, and this is kind of a YOLO pick, honestly. We talked about him. He hasn't played that much. Maybe we just come out and we burn Vic right now. I don't think people will pick him.
Don't hate that too much.
Don't
like that he's not played much, but I don't hate that.
T2 and T10, his last 2 trips to Bay Hill. T19 to Genesis was his last start, so he's had some time off.
Yep. So he did play at the Genesis. Okay.
Yeah. That one for me is more of like let's try to be early. Hopefully people don't pick him, and he's still a top
because if he wins a tournament from here until the Masters, it's like he's going to be just hammered at the Masters probably. He probably already is going to be hammered at the Masters.
I also wouldn't hate waiting and using him at the Players possibly. He's kind of popped off.
Yeah, he does play. He does play TPC Sawgrass pretty good. He has in the past anyway, but
yeah, the guy that I want to play. And I've already bet him, got him at 35-1. He's already dropped into the 20s. Matt Fitzpatrick.
I knew you were going to have one of these on the list that I just said. I said there's 2 guys in the past 5 years that are over plus or 2+ shots gained from tee to green on this golf course.
Yeah.
Matthew Fitzpatrick and Rory.
Yeah.
Only 2.
Yeah.
And by the way, crazy because I knew I wasn't going to get picks, but I wanted to at least come to something at the table. Dude, Did you know Matt Avery won this tournament 2 years in a row, which just blows my fucking mind?
Yes, Matt Avery won twice in a row. It's crazy.
You're just like, I'm like looking at past champions. I'm like, that's not real. Yeah. And I went back, it's 100% real. So
yeah,
and then you just see his name back to back and all the names around it. You're like,
yeah, it's like Tiger, Jason Day.
Yeah. Bryson DeChambeau.
Rory,
Rory. It's like, and then it's just like Matt Avery 2 years in a row. It's like, but I will say, I like that stat popped off because I do agree with your thinking that course history here does play pretty, just like the Genesis, I think, right? It's a tough golf course. Winners in the past, 3-4 years have been right around 9, 7. Like it's been 1 year it played like 6 under or something like that. It was something crazy. It played
1 year
tough.
It might have been like close to over par. I think the year that Hatton won, it was like
it was tough, but they don't typically go double digits on this course. I really like if you tag that with like the shots gained history for Matt Fitzpatrick. I love a tournament like he won at Hilton Head last year. That's a tournament where guys, they don't just go to 20 under. I don't like tournaments for him when they gets to that.
No, me either.
Even though he's a great putter and he can make putts, but I do like his ability, and I think he's definitely a mutter for sure.
Validated, confirmed mutter.
Yeah.
His since 2019, he's gone second, T9, T10, T9, T14.
And trending.
He had a T15 at Phoenix, missed the cut of the Genesis, but then this past week the
played well.
Played well. So that's who I'm ready to go, Fitzpatrick.
If that's still a guy you want, I knew you were going to have one of those. Yeah. I thought it for a second when you said we got some big dogs here. I was like, oh, he's going to pick Rory, which I wouldn't have hated either.
Yeah, I mean those guys I listed they're all like top 10 to 15 at least in the world, but I think Scotty. I'm earmarking Scotty for the U.S. Open. I want to get him on a place where his ball striking can win out and the putting may not kill him. Yeah. So we need to do that.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember who tweeted that out, but it was someone with like 300, 400,000 followers. So I'm wondering if the odds. He tweeted that out today.
Yeah.
When the odds came out, and so I'm wondering if that maybe moves some odds. People seeing that, and then they see him, have a good week at the Cognizant. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I think he could be popular, but I don't think he'll be the most popular. I could be wrong, but
no, I don't. No way.
There's enough guys here that I think it'll spread out a little bit.
And I think there's a lot of people in this that have been burned by him in the past.
I was shocked to see him so far down the odds board.
Yeah,
like when I opened it up and I was scrolling,
Sam Burns is like
he was 22.
Yeah,
and I was like, you're telling me
he's a top 10 odds favorite this week is Sam Burns.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know. I just thought that. Good value on that bet, and obviously the history and all that speaks.
I don't hate it.
So. All right,
man, I made it this whole episode, and I hadn't sneezed yet. But.
Yeah, Matt Fitzpatrick, the official race for the Mayo Cup one and done pick of the week for the Back Nine Six Pack. Let's get all our money back. We didn't win this week.
Yeah, we will.
Let's catch a W. That'd be great. All right, it's time. Somehow we went way long for the Cognizant here, but we're heading to the patio.
I'll let you go first. I went first last week.
I can never remember, so I'll just trust you on that. Kind of had two questions here, but I think I'm going to go... do I swerve on the golf theme we've had on this episode, or do I lean into the golf theme? It's been a heavy golf episode.
I think we go opposite golf.
All right, here's one for you. Very clear answer for me to this one, so...
Okay.
What is a word that you mispronounced incorrectly once that haunts you to this day?
Oh man, that's tough. So like I've done it once, or do I do like because there's words I do it all the time too.
I mean, yeah, it could be either or, I guess. Non-charcuterie board division.
Yeah, I was gonna say charcuterie is definitely up there. I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of one that, one that stands out. So, what is yours?
So, my brother-in-law played football in Michigan. We were on our way up to a game. Susie and then Nick and his wife Rachel. We were heading up to a game. fall time, beautiful. Just driving through God's country, the leaves, everything's
it is
popping. It's looking great. We're heading to the big house for a football game. Everything was awesome. Just kind of riding. One of the rare times I wasn't driving for whatever reason. Looking out the window. And I was just kind of going to make a joke. And I was like, man, look at all the fall foliage. The word is foliage.
Foliage, yeah.
And I just mispronounced it. And because, look, I've got an English degree. I'm I'm in.
Yeah, like if I do it, it doesn't really register on anybody's radar.
Yeah. So I did it, and I do not live this down. To this day, Nick and Rachel will bring that up and laugh about it. And it's like so in my head that I have to think about saying the word now because it's so in my head. And I never had it just came out wrong. It was just like it just happened,
So I'm still thinking one for myself, but one that I witnessed was really, really bad.
Oh, no.
So shout out to John Kime. He's an ex-teammate of mine. He does listen when he's got the time. He's got kids and stuff. But I was in his wedding. It was up in Bucyrus. I do say that right. So I know. It was actually at Bucyrus Country Club. And they decided they were, it was in October. Always a toss-up outside, it was the beginning of October. But it's a toss-up. Northern Ohio, October, things start to turn. It's never super cold, but it gets pretty wet up there. Like it rains and stuff like that. Well, if you know anything about golf, is that a golf course? They have it on I think 18. It might have been 10. One of the it's either 18 or 10, but out in the fairway. That's where they were having the ceremony. Pretty decent walk from the clubhouse to where they had the ceremony at. So we're out there. It starts to sprinkle a little bit, but we're still going through with it. We're gonna go out here. Danielle's pregnant at the time. She's walking, and I'm kind of holding her arm. My ex-roommate John's right next to her. He's at the wedding, and she goes, "My heels are getting stuck in these areolas." And I look. I swear I did not hear it right. And I was like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, these areola holes. My heels just keep getting stuck in them. And I was like, you mean aerification holes? Oh, people around us are losing their shit.
Oh my God.
Because they can't even believe what they're hearing. She's calling the aeration holes areolas, and she doubled down on it. She said it once and then said it again.
Yeah.
Doubling down on it. And these people are losing their mind. Now I've got to go stand up in a ceremony thinking about my wife calling aeration holes areolas.
Yeah.
And it was just one, and the fact that she doubled down, I couldn't believe it. I thought for sure she'd catch it. Oh God, no, that's not what they're called. No, she did.
It's almost better that she doubled down on it, because then, if that was just a Freudian slip, you'd be like, what the fuck?
What the fuck's wrong with you?
About?
Yeah. I'm literally the perfect display of, pregnancy brain.
Yeah, that was my initial thought right off the bat.
Truly pregnancy brain.
Yeah.
She was probably 5 months pregnant at the time. So really in the heat of pregnancy brain.
Your peak hormones.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Start calling the golf course. Hey, have you guys areola yet?
Yeah, did you guys got the areola machine out today? Man, I'm trying to think of one for myself. I've never had anything embarrassing. I think charcuterie is my word, because I still say it wrong.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
I'm still not confident you're saying it right now. It's charcuterie.
But I
it's a soft seat.
So literally, it's 2 weeks after that all went down on that episode, we're at my company Christmas party, and I was like, man, this charcuterie board setup it's actually not bad. I'm not a big fan of charcuterie boards. And the guy, one of the guys that I work with, he looks like, dude, it's charcuterie. I was like, yeah, it's just how I say it, everyone. I need no defense to it. I tell everybody this, I'm uncultured. That's what it just boils down to. Like, I didn't know what manicotti was today.
Yeah. Oh, that was great too. That was a good way to start the morning.
So I'm just uncultured. But that's probably my word that I continue to say it wrong every once in a while.
Yeah.
I just don't learn my lesson.
That's fair. Yeah, I just still can't believe I said foliage. God, it's so
That's bad. Yeah, that for you. For me, it would like I said, it wouldn't even have registered for most people. They'd be like, "Oh, he's an idiot. Like he doesn't."
Yeah, just let it.
He doesn't
slide.
know the English vocabulary very well. But for you, yeah, it's a highly, I guess, unexpected mistake.
Yeah, tough.
Oh,
Can't shake that one.
gosh, that's a good question, and I know I'm going to think of one as soon as I get out of here. It's gonna something's going to pop in my head, but that's definitely mine for sure. All right, so I started watching Masters of the Air.
Okay.
Do you know what that is? Do you know what show that is?
No.
It's on Apple Plus. It's about World War II pilots.
Okay.
Mostly bombers, flying fortresses. They're starting to get into like the like fighter pilots and stuff like that. But up to this point, they're it's kind of like Band of Brothers. It's going to be 10 episodes. Spielberg, but they're it's a storyline of World War II pilots.
Yeah.
I credit myself with being a pretty gigantic World War II historian. Like I know a lot. It's just an odd thing, but I know a lot about it. But it's not my question. So I was watching this, and the Flying Fortress, by the way, like at the time was an incredible feat of scientific design, and at that time. But what I didn't know about these things, and I don't know much about the airplanes that were used in World War II, but I'm starting to find out, dude. Like there was like 12 guys on these planes. One. You're thinking of like a plane now, like the big 740s. Like, yeah, okay, it fits a lot of people. But these things like weren't that big, and there's like 10 guys on them. And they've got like, you got like a guy in the very bottom of the plane, like in a see-through glass like mechanism that can like kind of move around. It's got a gun on it and stuff like that. But my question is, and it blew my mind. I'm like, there's just no way. And then like how they abandoned the airplane, like they would drop the bombs and just like put parachutes on and just roll out the bomb door. Like it's incredible. Like I'm just sitting here thinking like there's got to be a better process. But then you're like, dude, it's the 1940s. They're lucky they even got a plane that big to get up there and like drop bombs. It's truly a feat of scientific, advancement at this time. But my question is, so it blew my mind, this process. You got guys jammed in nooks and crannies of this plane. So my question is like, what is one thing that you've seen the process for that you had no idea about, like, in the past that just kind of blows your mind? You're like, what? Like, how? Like, you couldn't even imagine that happening today.
Whew. Yeah.
Like, how they even live doing that stuff. Because like that process of like just having 10 guys on a plane that's just not that big, and it's clearly not built for comfort, but just having guys just jammed in every nook and cranny of this plane, and how they exited, if they had to, it was just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that I think are along similar lines there. Like, I mean, the fact that we went to space and landed on the moon in the 60s seems like wild, considering we like hardly had color TVs and, in a lot of people's houses and things like that. Look, you've got 3 kids. I have 2. I don't understand, like based on my own experience and my wife's experience, like how people were giving birth to children, like in safe ways.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
and like,
I don't know about you, but I mean, like, we've now both had multiple kids.
Yeah.
And every time I'm like nervous, I'm a nervous wreck, like something's going to go wrong. Yeah. There's just so much happening. And then you get like a ton of people in there. Like now they have a ton of people. But back in the day, it's like you have like one like midwife. It's like, oh, here's the baby. Cut the cord.
On like a dirt floor, in a wooden...
Yeah, or in their like house, like their dirty house.
Purely from like sanitation reasons alone, you would think that like it wouldn't go well, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously we've come a long way, and fewer people die from childbirth and things like that. But like, it just seems wild that the human race is actually still alive, just
like
based
they survived.
On, any of just that. In general, I think that.
I've been in like a watching mood, like just trying to find new stuff. I finally watched Napoleon.
Yeah, you texted about that.
And like, his wife dies of diphtheria, or his ex-wife, because he ended up divorcing her. But like, you start reading diphtheria and you're just like, dude, thank God for fucking antibiotics. Like, you know what I mean? Like, truly, how did we also, like, how did we get to this point based on, really, that was 200 years ago, but antibiotics weren't really used that often up until about 100 years ago.
I mean, you just take it down to, like, back in the day, like, whatever, indigenous people and whatever.
Fucking crazy.
Like, who was the first person that ate the poisonous berry?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, well, I guess you didn't eat that one. Frank just fucking died, so.
Yeah. Frank got off the ship, was kind of hungry, ate the berries, dead. Don't eat those.
Yeah, don't eat the blue one.
And
right?
like, you got a guy back there like taking notes or whatever. It's fucking nuts, dude. It is truly nuts when you think about that, like, along those lines of like.
Yeah, so that's like a very basic like level. Of, you know what I mean? Just like, how are we still here, kind of thing. Man, there's got to be so many. You got me on the flight path now, and it's like, I mean, the Wright brothers, they're like bicycling a plane into the air. Like, what?
Well, and to think it went from that to like the Airbus 320 that holds 400 people and has 4 jet engines on it, and it can fly, 4,000 miles or whatever. It's like,
right. And then if you think about, kind of, you were talking about warplanes and stuff. Like, think about the, whatever the stealth planes and stuff they have today that are, it's crazy.
Like to me, another one that when I started thinking about this and I knew what I was going to ask you, the process of like mass farming, right? Like nowadays we've got, I mean, look, it's still a tough job. These guys get up at 2 a.m. and they're out there, they're out there until after dinner and they're working their butts off. Like, truly it's still a hard job, but you think about farming 500 acres with, like a horse and a till. You know what I mean? Now we've got these big combines that just go out there and just really make the job truly that much easier. But thinking about that process of like being out there, it's like, I'm going to hook my horse up now and we're going to take the corn crop down now. Like 500 acres of it. Yeah. It's going to take me 3.5 weeks to do it. Like, that just blows my mind that they used to, that's how it used to be done.
Yeah, I mean, I look, in our lifetime, I feel like we've kind of been like this generation that's really like bridged sort of the internet age gap.
Yeah, oh, for sure, because we knew it. We knew what life was like before it.
Yeah,
and now we know. Like, we're young enough though. We know how to use it.
I mean, if you think back just 25 years ago, the turn of the century, like, it was kind of like dial up. People had personal computers, whatever. Like, it wasn't like. And now, I mean,
this whatever we hold in our hands, this is like 5 million times more powerful than what we had as kids, and it sits in our hand. You remember those big desktop ones, man? Oh, yeah. Those things were they weighed like 80 pounds.
Just imagine, like, literally, we couldn't use the internet and the house phone at the same time. Like, that's where we were, just like
not even like
it's
really not that long ago.
No,
yeah, it's
this many, like, logistics blows my mind.
Yeah,
like the stuff that you can order like on Amazon and you can get it like the same day. Like, it'll be like next day delivery. I'm like, how is this here already?
Yeah,
like that stuff like that.
And the process of like, that process blows my mind too, because I found out a little more about how they do that, and they're using like Amazon's been using AI and data technology for longer than most companies, and they truly, they build all these what they call like local hubs. We have one here that's literally 5 minutes down the road, and they stock up on stuff that is ordered the most in that area.
Yeah. And
it's so funny. We live in the suburbs, right? And you go on there, it's like, I can get a Stanley by 5 p.m., but I can't get, I don't know, name a phone case by 5 p.m. because it's like, well, the Stanleys are ordered more than the phone cases here. So yeah. It's just wild. That whole process kind of blows my mind too. And to think like what we've, my grandpa was a truck driver, and they used to do all the updating through CB radio, and him stopping at a truck stop and calling into his dispatcher like, this is where I made it tonight. And now it's like you can literally, we got a guy, Scott, he runs a trucking company. And it's like, hey, where's Johnny at today? And it's like, he's at mile marker 101.6 on Highway 90 up by Chicago. It's like, Jesus. He's like, this is real time. Like, this is exactly where he's at. You know what I mean? It's wild to see that process of like them doing it that way, and then how it used to be. It's like my grandpa's picking up a payphone and calling his dispatcher. It's like, I made it to Findlay, Ohio today, like randomly, probably at like 12 o'clock at night, or whatever. So it is wild.
Yeah.
Very wild.
So I don't know. That was kind of a lot of a roundabout answer to all this, but yeah,
there's a lot of processes, but that what made me think of it is just the process of, seeing how the military works now, and then just seeing like just 10 dudes just get crammed into an airplane in nooks and crannies, and he's floating on a piece of plexiglass over 30,000, 25,000 feet in the air with a gun that swivels on God knows what kind of technology. It was just wild.
Yeah. Man.
Which, by the way, you need to watch that show. If you have Apple Plus, 100% recommend it. Part 8 is this Friday. They release every Friday. It's fantastic. And like I said, it's Steven Spielberg. Like, it's not going to be bad, right?
Sure.
And then the guy that's like one of the main characters, he played Elvis in the Elvis movie.
Gotcha.
Drawing a blank on his name right now, but he's really
Austin
good.
Butler?
Yes, he's the main character, one of the main characters. Really, really good. Yeah. If you're looking for something to watch.
Well, speaking of things to watch, I'll transition us out of here. Full Swing comes out Wednesday.
Yes, I'm moving on to that.
Little bit of a tease for everybody. I think our next 2 episodes we're going to do a bit of a recap. Breakdown of, we'll do 1 through 4 in the first episode, 5 to 8 in the second one. May have a special guest join us. I don't know because he's yet to confirm. We'll see.
Put the peer pressure on them.
But yeah, put it out into the ether now. But yeah, that'll be good. That'll be exciting. I think season 1, was kind of, for me, it felt a little underwhelming.
A little bit. There was some good stuff in there, but a little bit.
I think so too. Like the Brooks episode was really fascinating for me. Joel Damon became a star from the first season.
Him and Gino, his caddy becomes a star.
That part was cool. Where it's like, all right, us golf nerds, like we knew Gino and
they're like
Joel
awesome people and they're funny.
So for them to kind of get like their actual due, was
really
cool.
It was that was really cool. And it looks like they're back. I mean, they had to be back. There was no way they were going to let them slip. They were truly the stars of last season. As crazy as that sounds, because he didn't have a good year last year either.
Yeah.
But
so I'm kind of hopeful season 2 will be a little more connected. The first one kind of felt disjointed in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, we talked about that. It was trying to, because we could have followed along really easily, right? Mm-hmm. But it was trying to get people to understand how the season progresses.
How cuts work.
Oh my God. It was every episode. A cut happens on Friday, and if they're not in the top 70 people, well, I'm like, Jesus, this is the 5th time I've heard this. Like, we're on episode 4.
So my hope is that they, look, the new season of Drive to Survive just came out, and I'm 2 episodes into that. I'm hoping that Full Swing kind of moves more towards the Drive to Survive model, where they kind of like, they focus more on the stories and on what's kind of developing and happening behind the scene. And they do an excellent job of
like tying that in with
because you've already watched the season that's happened. And now you're getting to see sort of the behind the scenes of the season.
Yep.
And they do such a good job of connecting the dots between what you just watched and what happened.
Yeah. I just hope I'm not disappointed by the coverage of the Ryder Cup, because it is if you're new to golf, right, it's a big deal. And if you don't know that, I hope they really hammer that into like, this is a big deal. Guys, don't get paid to do this. This is truly playing for the honor of your continent or your country. And, for some, I guess. But I really hope they nail that in and like show what that really means to golf.
I hope we get all the drama from that we were kind of like.
I hope. I hope so.
I have a feeling we might get a nuking of Zach Johnson in this. I'm hopeful.
Oh, I hope so.
I hope we get.
I just need and you know who's going to do it, right? It's going to be Brooks. It's 100. Because I will say, look, I love JT. I love Max Homa. Those guys are just like, they kind of present themselves of like classy men, not going to like drag someone through the mud. Brooks doesn't give a fuck.
I don't even
like he just truly doesn't. And I have a feeling if it's going to be somebody, it's going to be him.
I don't even know if any other player will do it. I think we might just like, it'll be like a self-combustion. Like we might just see behind the scenes of all this stuff going on and just like, it just confirms
I swear to God, if I don't see one person sniffling in one of these in the Ryder Cup episode, I'm going to lose my mind.
I hope we get a little back, little Cantlay, Xander, some behind the scenes, them talking about getting paid. Hopefully we get to see some, the Rory Joe LaCava
oh hell yeah
incident.
I want, because we know what happens, right? Like the story, we know most of the story. I want to just skip to that episode and watch that first, and then go back because I'm truly, because like last year we didn't have a Ryder Cup, right? And they didn't cover the President's Cup in the last. I'm really looking forward to, and I've seen the previews. They've, I think it looks like it's going to be a pretty big part of probably like one of the last episodes.
The Ryder Cup's like the last 2 episodes, I think.
Is it
they
really
lean into it?
I think. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah. They announced the name of the episodes or whatever.
Yeah, I think I got a picture.
But
of it, actually.
The storylines are thick, and it's not even the live stuff, right? It's JT superstar, just absolutely terrible year last year. It's gonna be cool to see how he handled that behind the scenes with the cameras rolling, and because you really got a good look at Brooks, right? Like we were kind of like, he's kind of a crybaby, but then it's like he came out and won a major. It's like maybe that's just his way of processing failure. Everybody does it a little differently, so it's gonna be interesting because I think JT kind of went through one of those years that Brooks did in last season, this past year. So it's going to be really cool to see, I think.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say before we get out, it'll be interesting too because like the first go-around, first season, Liv was still sort of this like new thing. Everyone's kind of laughing at it.
Look, they signed another older guy. Yeah, kind of deal.
Now it's like much more real.
Very real.
And so I think that storyline and just kind of seeing how that develops throughout the season,
by the way,
beyond what was just said in the media.
John Rahm is so selfish for signing later. I really wish he'd have signed earlier so we could get a glimpse of it in this season. Yeah. I don't think we're going to see it in this season, but
we'll see.
Because he did it in like November or something like that.
Yeah, it was like December.
Yeah. So we should, and they might do some kind of like fall, they might add it in just...
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Some after the fact stuff.
It's definitely more real this year or for this season than it was last season.
Yeah.
For
so
sure.
There you go. There's your warning. We're going to break down these 8 episodes over the next 2 weeks. So if you don't want any spoilers, go ahead and watch it and watch along with us.
Yeah. You've got from Wednesday to Monday.
Yeah, Monday night.
Yeah. Yep.
Or Tuesday morning. There you go. So when that gets out, jump on it. I think we're done.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, subscribe.
Get me to my allergy medicine.
Yeah, Justin needs his allergy medicine. Sorry for the sniffles. Sorry for the sneezes.
There was only one sneeze, though. So.
Yeah. And we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 Sixpack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 Sixpack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.